there's something to be said for having sat in literally every seat in my practice. I know what it feels like. I've been in those shoes. I know what it's like when, the pressure's on and you've got two patients and you're running back to back, chair to chair, and you just want to go take a drink of water and sit for 5 minutes. I never call my team a staff. Staff is an infection. Team is a team, and they're my family, and we're working together.
I'm Dr. Scott Law, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Smile Doctors Off Mute podcast. It's been said that one of the best ways to master a skill is to learn it, do it, and then teach it. And today on the Smile Doctors Off Mute podcast, Dr. Kathleen Pale is one of the best examples of this in our industry. And so I'm really excited for you to hear her story, hear all about her. She's one of the most kind and genuine people I've ever met. So welcome to the podcast, Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Law. I'm so excited to be here. A little nervous, but we're looking forward to this.
This is going to be fun. No, this is going to be fun. So it's hard not to give away the whole story. Clearly, you're an orthodontist, but I would love to kind of hear your whole journey in orthodontics from the time where you're little to present day. And so let's start like that. I know you were an ortho patient at one point. So tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So let's go way back to the early 90s. I was a phase 1 patient of Dr. Harold Middleberg, who just recently retired from our practice. I was an extended thumbsucker, as a lot of our patients are. So I showed up at 8 years old with my high, narrow palate and got into some phase 1 treatment. So he treated me for about a year. I was living in Philadelphia at the time. That was his, original practice location. Sure. Went through phase 1 with him. And then we moved out of the city about a year after I finished treatment, up to the suburbs. And he ended up opening a satellite location not too far from where I was living. So then enter my 2 sisters who went into treatment. And I used to go to their appointments with them, sit chairside. And I was probably freshman in high school at this point. And just, I loved it. I loved the experience. It was fun. It was half of the team they were there when I was a patient. So I knew a lot of familiar faces, and I used to sit with her at her appointments, and I'm like, this is just, this is so cool. And I remember my mom came over.
Would you hover over? Would you come over and look in her mouth? And
respectfully, I wouldn't hover too close, but, I was just so into what they were doing and the technique and the fun colors and all that stuff. And my mom came home the one day and she's like, I got to talking to Dr. Middleberg, and he was telling me what schooling is like and what this is like, and this is something you could do. And that kind of sparked it. And I remember one appointment, I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I said, can I work here? I'd love to have a job here. I was about to turn 16. I was looking for a summer job. He said, yeah, call me when you turn 16. So I think the week after I turned 16, I started working there as a sterile tech. So I, cleaning instruments and wiping down rooms and resetting rooms and things like that. That was sophomore year of high school, and that continued all through high school, after school hours, summer breaks, things like that. Over time, I learned more. I started taking records, pictures, molds at the time before the scanner. And actually, at the same time, shortly after I started at the ortho practice, I was also working for our family general dentist same thing, cleaning instruments, doing sterile, jumping in chairside, holding suction, things like that. So I kind of got to see the GP versus ortho thing pretty early. I learned more and more chairside as time went on, and then I was full-time chairside tech for about 2 years before I left for dental school. So it really just, what I wanted to do. It's, I knew it, I loved it, and I kind of set off to take the next step.
So when you first started, so you're a sterilization tech, you just knew you wanted to work there, or did you know you wanted to be a doctor? Where was your mind at? Where were you?
I don't think that I knew I wanted to be a doctor just yet. I mean, my mom had kind of planted that seed. My parents planted that seed pretty early. Hey, this is, a possible career path. I loved science. I loved math, that kind of thing. But I think the more I got to see the different roles in the practice and how the team worked together, that kind of solidified that choice to kind of go further with my education, take it to the next level. which was, pretty cool to know that early on. It made, picking a school easy and picking a major easy, and kind of it just all flowed. So,
yeah. So with that, I don't want to skip over because you went quick through there. You're working at 2 different locations. You're doing ortho and dental. So just soaking up as much as you could all the way around. And working at the same time, going to school at the same time. So you're truly, truly driven to get on this path and to excel at it. That is extremely impressive. So how many years did you do that? And did you go to school during when did you find time to go to school and get your prereqs done and all that?
So, I mean, I did, back in the day that we were working till 8:30 at night in the ortho practice. So, I'd hop over after school once or twice a week and work that 3 to 8 busy shift after school ended. We had Saturday hours. I would work Saturdays, and then summertime when I was off, I was still in high school at the time. So we'd be off, for 3 months in the summer. I was working more full-time hours during that period of time. Yeah. And then when I moved into chairside, I was doing that a little bit more. I did that full time for a little while before I left for dental school. But summers between college breaks and just, anywhere I had kind of time and I was home, I sort of made it work, and I popped over and, helped out. And I got to do a little bit of everything. I sterile chairside, a little bit of front desk, some lab work. So I really got to see, every part of the office run. Another cool thing I did, my very best friend, Molly, growing up, her dad, I've known her since I was 6. So before I even ever had an interest in dentistry, her dad owned a tool and die company in Philadelphia, and he made ortho instruments. So never even knew that really until I was older, what he did. But when I was in college, he's like, oh, the industry, you know what these instruments are. You want to come sell some instruments at a trade show? So I got to travel with him. I did a couple AAOs. I've really kind of seen a bunch of different areas of ortho, which is fun. So
that's cool. Which company was it? Are they still in business?
He's not. He recently passed. God rest his soul. But the company's still up and running. Ply Dent Co. and Precision Carbide. So they're still up and running. But
that's awesome.
A different aspect, different part of dentistry. So
sure.
Yeah.
Well, you were a hustler then. You had all this going on. Trying to working all these fronts and going to school. So then you went to college. And so, where'd your undergrad take you?
So undergrad, I graduated from St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. Go Hawks. And, nice enough, I was close to home. So I didn't work so much during the school year, but definitely every summer, summer break, I was there. Long spring breaks, I would come in and help out on the busy days. So went there, and then I went to Arizona for dental school after that. So that was my first real departure from the practice. And it was sad. It was like leaving home. It was leaving family. And, but I always knew in the back of my mind that I was going to come back one day, and it was just a temporary goodbye, and it wasn't a forever. So pretty cool.
That's so cool. So it speaks volumes to me that you could work off and on like that, for so many years. They must have really loved you, and they must have had just an awesome office culture to keep you coming back to that location. Tell us some about that. What they love about you. What did you do?
I don't know. I just like to have fun when I'm at work. We're there to have a good time. Yeah, we're there to treat patients, but we have a good time when we're there, and it's like hanging out with your second family, and everybody's smiling and laughing and having a good time, and try to make it the best experience for the patients and their parents as possible. But it's just the history. Some of the girls that I work with now, we were kids together. They were there in high school when I was there in high school. And, so I've grown up with them, which is just amazing. But, Chuck Gemme and Harold Middleberg, they were there through it all. And, they kept encouraging me. And, the times that I came to them, like, is this really something I can do? Is this something I should be doing? They were always, cheerleaders for that, for following through and pushing my education further. So it was just, it was bittersweet to leave. And I think that alone just, I knew I was coming back. It wasn't forever.
That's awesome. Okay. So you went to Arizona. And then where'd you do your ortho training?
So I did my ortho training at Albert Einstein Medical Center in Philadelphia, which is pretty unique. So both Chuck and Harold trained there as well. And they were also on staff. They were attendings there. So it was my first choice. It was where I interviewed. It was where I got in. And to all have that same background training, that same mentality, that same, thought process in treatment planning and diagnosing, it's really a unique feature of our practice. And now Justin Middleberg has come in. He's kind of stepped up and filled in for his father since his retirement. And, same thing, trained to the same program. And it's just really neat. We treated a general dentist, one of our top referrals recently. I treated him and I took his braces off, and he's like, do you want me to do a testimonial for your Instagram? I'm like, absolutely, sit down, let's go. And that's really what he highlighted. And I never really thought about it, until he said it, but he's like, I can come in any day of the week and treatment's going to just continue seamlessly. And, they all know what the other one's thinking, and we can pick up, and I know where they're going. I know what the next wire is. I know what their thought process is. Which is such a unique scenario for us.
Absolutely. I know that is one of the challenges with group practice, especially when you when you share patients, right? Is that some people kind of zig where the others would have zagged, and you try to guess, and you don't want to switch it up on patients. Eventually everything would get straight, but man, to have a single methodology and the treatment plan's the same, that's so much better.
Absolutely.
Good for you guys. Yeah. And the fact that the general dentists notice, even better.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's what he said. He's like, he's like, I'm a cosmetic dentist in this area. I have the choice of any practice for my patients for ortho. And he's like, and this is where I took myself. This is where I send my patients. So, it was like one of the best videos I've ever made for our social media. And it just, it was just so cool. But yeah, it's definitely a unique feature. But, I was lucky, the stars aligned, and, the year that I interviewed was the year that Hurricane Sandy hit really bad in our country. And it hit this area about 2 days before my interview. And at Einstein, if you missed your interview, you missed your interview. That was it. There was no rescheduling, there was no, so I think I got the last flight out of Phoenix. I made it in time. We had no power whatsoever. I got ready for my interview by an oil lamp. I was doing makeup by an oil lamp, but I made it to that interview. Nothing was going to hold me back.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow. That is so funny. Cool. They were that stringent with given the circumstance. I get it. Like, hey, you're not going to miss your interview time, but
absolutely. Because some people did, and it was unfortunate, but I would have walked it if I had to.
Yeah, I've heard the phrase "hell or high water." Come hell or high water. That was really what it was. Good for you. It just shows your ambition. I love it. I love stories like yours where people are so driven to get what they want. And so you started in ortho. I'm just going to go back. So you started there. You knew you wanted to be a part of this. And what initially drew you to it? Was it how they helped you? Was it the feeling in the office? What was there? And then what made this switch to go, actually, I want to be the doctor. I love all components, but I want to be the doctor.
So I think what drew me to it was just the fun that everybody had, and the overall vibe and the atmosphere of the office. Working side by side with a GP, it's a different vibe. Nobody walks out saying, thanks for the restoration, or like, thanks for the root canal. You were awesome. But like a patient that got their braces off, they're happy, they're smiling, they're telling their friends and their family. And I think that alone is just what set ortho apart for me. It's just fun. We have a fun time there. And then making that switch to doctor, I've always been kind of a go-getter, and I can't just chill and go along with the flow. I gotta do the next level thing. I was class president in dental school. I'm homeroom mom now. I can't everything. I got to step it up a little. Yep. But I think yeah, exactly. Just looking around the office, everybody plays such an important role. But there's just something about, calling the shots and being able to have that power to change lives and change faces and change smiles. And it's just unmatched. So it's, I wanted to go as high as I could.
Yeah. Be on the other end of it. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So now that things have kind of come full circle where you do get to deliver these smiles, help that little that little 8-year-old girl, right, who's in the same situation. How does that affect how you approach work and you approach the inner culture of your office and all of that?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think there's something to be said for having sat in literally every seat in my practice. As the patient, feeling that apprehension, feeling that uneasiness, that unsureness, I can look at these kids and say, I've been where you've been. I get you're nervous about that expander, but hey, I had an expander and I still became an orthodontist. So it wasn't that bad. And I said, if it was terrible, do you think I would have come back to this practice? No. I said, this is the exact same practice. So to be able to tell them that is pretty cool. And, to be able to work with my team and, understand the frustrations of a busy day or a crazy day or just the things that we experience day in and day out. I know what it feels like. I've been in those shoes. I know what it's like when, the pressure's on and you've got 2 patients and you're running back to back, chair to chair, and you just want to go take a drink of water and sit for 5 minutes. So it's you recognize that and you see that in your team and you can feel it. And then I think, the biggest full circle moment was when I became a parent. And I think that that just unlocked a whole different level of my practice. Not only practice, but just how I view the world and how I view every interaction and everything I do. So to sit there and speak one-on-one with these parents and know what they're feeling about their little baby sitting in the chair, and to be able to empathize with that and relate to that, it's just so cool. And even more so, I've been doing ortho for almost 10 years now, but my daughter's 8 and she's actually in phase 1 right now. She's got an expander and braces. So even now, to share those stories with the parents, hey, we're in the trenches together. Don't make spaghetti tonight because it's really hard to eat and your kid's going to complain. Switch to rigatoni for a couple of months. But just to say that, oh, my daughter got her braces on and that was so much easier compared to the expander. So you're going to be totally fine tonight. You're going to be fine. So to have those shared experiences and say that I've been the patient, I've been the assistant, I've been the parent, it's just really cool. Really, really cool.
I couldn't agree more. I know that I was a patient and I remember my experiences and I remember the assistant that I was hoping I would get each time. And I was remembering the assistant that I really didn't want. And just the way that one talked to me, the way that one made me feel, how she smelled good. She remembered my name. She, all those, I really wanted Jennifer. I really, I was hoping each time, please, and then I wouldn't. I'd get the one who was real rough and I'd try and wave to Jennifer on my way out, hoping. I remember all of those things. Yeah. And then to your point, I think as an orthodontist, we're trained kind of all of medicine, right? It's extremely paternalistic, almost you could say, just where it's no, you're going to do it like I tell you to do it. You're going to come in when I need you to come in. And I think as technology has changed and we're able to make it much more convenient for parents. I know as a parent, I am so empathetic to that. I'm oh yeah. It's kind of the hidden cost in orthodontics, right? It's how much time away from work, school, home, the inconvenience of it all to have to come in multiple times for visits where I just, as an orthodontist, I knew in my head, my heart, I just need to take a look. Yep. And so it's how it's asking a lot of our patients where I could use technology and be much more efficient. So if I can, I should. And so I think parents appreciate it, especially the ones who've been through it once before. And they're oh, wait, I mean, I don't have to come in 15, 20 times, and you say it's so it's such a difference when we're considerate of them. So yes. And people take note. That's awesome.
Yeah, we definitely bring that up during my exams and, the parents ask me, well, what do you think is better, braces or Invisalign? I'm listen, I'm going to tell you the pros and cons. You got a busy kid like mine and you're running from the soccer field to the piano lessons to the swimming pool. You want to come in half as often, you might want to go with the liners. So, it just helps to know that we're all, we're all in it together.
Yep, exactly. And they appreciate it so much. That's why they go tell all their, as we say, all their cool friends with crooked teeth. It's I want all of them. Tell them all so we can help them out. This is we love to love your friends. So it's awesome.
And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I've reached a really cool point in my career. So, so I said there's the two different offices.
Yeah.
The second office in the suburbs. I grew up here. We actually, when my husband and I got married, we bought a house, not too far. We live in the school district where the office is located. And now I'm treating my daughter. I'm treating her classmates. I showed up. I think I'm treating like 3/4 of her soccer team. So I show up with mouth guards. I'm like, who forgot their mouth guard? Like, get them in.
Exactly.
I'm already setting teeth today. And just, I'm pretty involved with the community, around the offices, which is super fun. Like I said, I'm homeroom mom for my daughter's class. So, I'm involved with that. And my other kind of passion project outside of the office, our district has a really, really impressive education foundation. So I sit on the board of that, and we work to raise funding, lots and lots of money, to help support teachers' initiatives outside of what the normal school funding will provide. So if a teacher wants a cool piece of equipment or like a field trip or something like that, they put together a grant proposal, and then we review those, and we just hand out cash, and it's so much fun, to see, and like just to see it come to fruition. Like my daughter came home and she's like, Mom, we get to go to the zoo, and we're going to have a zookeeper come in the whole year and teach us about animals. And we're like, oh, that was the education foundation. Like,
love that.
Yeah. So really fun. So I've met a lot of people. I've made a lot of connections in the community, and now, my name is out there and people know who I am, and starting to see that come to light with referrals and just the patients we're getting in the door. And, going to school functions, I've got moms that are like, I'm so sorry to sidebar you, but can I talk about my kids' teeth? I'm like, absolutely. Like, yes, you can.
Absolutely. No.
Yep.
Yeah. Really if I can help, let me know how. I love it.
Of course.
I'm 100%. So I've been fortunate to be in your practice and to see your team in action and feel it and see the interaction with patients. And it's amazing. I've been to a couple of your locations, and I also know that you give back to your patients in your community. Would you share how you do that?
Sure, absolutely. So for the longest time, and we've always been big believers in pro bono work. So we partner with a low-income medical clinic in the city. And I actually treated the hygienist, I treated her spouse, and they filter patients to us, patients that just really have a need and just don't have the means to receive that care. So we take on a couple pro bono cases a year, and we're so happy to do. I mean, just the most humble, nicest, sweetest, kindest people you could ever want to meet. We do a lot with the community, with the local, all the sports teams and the sponsorships. And like, I love it when the kids come in, will you sponsor my softball team? I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, I'll send you tea. I'll send you this. I'll send you sunglasses. Like, tell me where to sign up. So we do a lot of local sponsorships, and we love showing up to those things. Like, it's one thing to just give them money to get your name on a plaque, but like, I'll go to the baseball games and the little league, and just pop up and show up and take a picture with one of my patients that's on the team in front of our sign. And like, that's just, it's so cool. We do some volunteer work. We try to do special volunteer projects. There's a group within the district that puts together meals for kids to take home. So, they have guaranteed meals when they're in school, but, you don't know what happens over the weekend. And they put together these little meal packages with a couple ready to make meals and some snacks and drinks and stuff like that. And they hand them out on Fridays and they give them to the kids. So we've gotten together as an office, and, we've bought, all the food, and we've packed the bags together. And it's just such a cool bonding experience, and to be able to give back to the community that you live in and work in is just such a unique experience. So
that is beautiful. No, thank you so much for your impact. I think, we need to do more. It's one of my favorite phrases. Again, it's where much is given, much is required, and I think we've been overly blessed in our industry and in our profession to really change the lives of people. And so when we can use that platform, use our blessings to help others, it's an amazing thing.
Absolutely.
So in your story, going from shy little girl, right, at 8 years old to
I don't know if I was ever shy. Okay, I had a mouth.
Perhaps not. Yeah, I didn't know if that was an unlock for you, if you were always there.
No, that's always been Chatty Cathy was my nickname when I was a kid.
I love it. Of course. Okay, well, what's one thing that you hope to kind of show others in orthodontics, like industry-wide, whatever role you're in inside the ortho office? What would you like people to take away, not just the doctors?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing is just you are a team and you have to remain a united front. And you have to work together and you have to support each other. I've always said I hate the word staff. I never call my team a staff. You know, staff is an infection. Team is a team, and they're my family, and we're working together. So you have to look out for one another, and no one member of that team is important than another. Yeah, I'm the doctor, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm no better than the person sitting next to me doing the retie, person up front answering the phone. We're all in the trenches together. And, you know, I don't pull that doctor card, that authority card. It's just not who I am. It's never who I'll be. You all have to work together. And I think that's kind of the take home. Support one another. You know, we're all in this together and we're all striving toward the same goal, to make that patient experience the best that it can be. Because you never know what they're going through or, you know, what they're looking for when they come into your practice. So it's super important.
I love that. The importance of our team. Love our teams.
Absolutely.
So you started out, you were a patient. I think success looked one way to you, right? And then you wanted to work there. Then you worked there. Then you became a doctor. And I'm curious to hear, how has the definition of success compared? What is it now for you compared to back then?
Yeah. So I think two types of success: home success and work success. And I think you and I talked about this the night we first met back in December in King Prussia. My definition of success in the practice is I want to walk in and have a team that's as happy to be there as I am. I want everybody to love being at work, to love what they're doing, to have fun, and not be so stressed and so strained that it's a burden to be there. So that's success to me. And that's something we're always trying to improve. We're always striving to make better. We're always looking for new things to integrate into the practice. And I think, you know, the last couple of months, it's been a great trajectory. You know, Chuck and I and Justin, we work really hard to be the cheerleaders in the practice and just kind of set the tone, because everybody's going through stuff. Everybody's got things happening in their own personal lives. But, you know, we talk about it and we address it, but like, let's make it a great day and let's, you know, try to be as happy as we can to be here. So that's my success in the practice. Success in my personal life. You know, when I was 15, I'm like, all right, I want a beach house and a boat and I want a cool car and I want a nice shoe. You know, and I'll work 1 million hours and I'll make $1 million. And that just has done a total 180. So, you know, I have an amazing husband. I have beautiful children. I have awesome parents. Time with them is my success. And just being with my family and being able to enjoy every stage of life and every progression from one thing to another. You know, and I think true success is when I'm as excited to go home as I am to go to work. You know, when one of those starts getting out of whack, I know something's off and we got to fix it. But when I wake up and I'm just pumped to go to work and pumped to come home, that's true balance, and that to me is success. So
I think every orthodontist, when they're going through residency, they always wish I knew what my chart said, my original chart when I was treated. What did that look like? What kind of patient was I? What did people say? How was my bite? Did they treatment plan it correctly? You know, what went on? And so you joined your original practice. I'm curious, did you get to look in your chart? What did it reveal?
I have it in my top drawer in my office. I went down to the scary, creepy, haunted basement in our upper location and I dug through boxes and boxes that were covered in dust. But I found it. And the coolest thing is that I went through and the assistants that initialed the chart, most of them I still work with.
Wow.
And I went to, and I'm like, Dawn, you took out my expander and you took off my braces and you did this. And like, that is just amazing. Like that was so long ago. And their handwriting still looks the same, which, you know, pre electronic records.
Sure.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, very cool. I know. Yeah. So what a cool thing that you're able to just have that continuity all the way through and then join the original practice. That's a great story.
Yep. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I don't know if you want to work this in, but you know, Chuck and Harold and Justin and I, we all teach now at Einstein. So I'm also on the teaching staff at Einstein. So again, full circle, back in the shoes of the attending, going over everything with the residents. And it's so fun. And I was in their shoes a couple years ago, and now, to be able to relate to them it's awesome.
That is cool. That's kind of the story of the whole thing. Is this is how you came full circle from being on the receiving end of the orthodontics to now not only being the doctor but also teaching other doctors as they come along. That's just great. Yeah. Kathleen, thank you so much for sharing with us about your journey. This was just beautiful to hear from the whole path, all the hats that you've worn, the different seats you've sat in all the way through, in every aspect of the ortho office. And I'm just so grateful to be partnered with you, grateful for your kind, genuine heart. And I think it shows, and I think people know it, and that's why they're drawn to you. It's why your practice is one of the reasons why it's been so successful, is because you guys are so authentic and you truly do care about others within your practice, your team, but also extremely about your patients. So thank you.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. This was so fun.
Yep. Awesome.
Yes, it was treatment planned well. They did a good job.